enough members, and as Waldo's ready to get rock and roll. So let's open up the monthly meeting of the Columbia County Planning Board, the February meeting. Welcome, everybody. Everybody get a chance to look over the minutes from last month.
Yes.
Yes.
So moves. Steve seconds. All
Second.
those in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Who was the first?
Patrick,
Patrick.
and then Steve. And we'll start the 239 referrals.
Okay. Okay.
Nobody has their kitten filters on, so that's good.
That's why we can't use Zoom.
That poor guy.
Okay. Okay, so we have 6 referrals tonight. We had actually a few more from Ankrum, but they came in on Tuesday and Wednesday, so they got kicked to next month. So we'll start at the top. But the way I'd like to do it, the town of Chatham submitted 2 local laws, and initially I had them as one referral, and then I decided it'd be best to have 2 different recommendations, one for each law. So they're separated, but I'd like to review them one after the other. So we'll start with 03 and then go to 07. But
Okay.
so the first one is the 2103. So that is the Town of Chatham Town Board. It's adoption of a proposed local law, lot line adjustment. It's amending the subdivision regulations in the town. It's local law of 2021, altered lot lines and boundary line adjustment to be known as the lot line law of the town of Chatham. The purpose of the law is to amend the town subdivision regulations and to allow lot line alterations and boundary line adjustments to be considered separately from subdivisions, but they would not be applicable where a new subdividable lot is created. There are a few definitions that have been added: altered lot line, boundary line adjustment, and subdivision. For the altered lot line, it's a conveyance to an adjacent parcel to increase the parcel size or to accommodate natural features or zoning law where no new lot would be created. For the boundary line adjustment is to correct errors in the deed or a shared desire to adjust the property line. It would be less than 1 acre of transference. And for subdivision is division into 2 or more lots, excluding altered lot lines. The new law would set forth application and procedure, establishes subdivision submission requirements, including survey of the land to be conveyed, and it may also require a survey of both parcels, the deed, the record, recording, and including the note of the purpose for the adjustment. It also requires planning board review and approval, filing with the county clerk within 30 days, or the conveyance would be null and void, but it may be extended upon application. It must also comply with the bulk and area requirements unless there's a variance that has been granted. Let's also show the map of the adjacent parcel. That would be at the planning board's discretion, and the fee is as established by the town board. Approvals are required within 62 days of the submission being received by the planning board clerk. The planning board may deny if the adjustment is in violation of or inconsistent with the existing town of Chatham laws, and requires the planning board chairman's stamp and date. We didn't find any countywide impact with this. And just one comment with relation to the procedure, suggesting that the content and the law that they submitted, sections 4 and 5, be reviewed because there are similar provisions in both sections. And it looks like there were two laws that were combined, and looks like a draft, honestly, because there are almost the exact same provisions in both section 4 and 5. They're both called application and procedure for creating an altered lot line. This is application procedure for a boundary line adjustment. So they're really similar, and but the way that they're written is like different techniques and different writing. So I'm just suggesting they review those for consistency.
Okay. Does anybody, any questions? Ed, you're muted.
I'll make a motion, we accept staff's recommendation.
Okay, is there a second?
Patrick.
Second.
Pat seconds it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion
Who, I missed the second.
Patrick.
Patrick.
Yep.
Prefers to be called Patrick.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll go to 21007, as I mentioned. For Town of Chatham. It's another adoption from the Chatham Town Board, adoption or amendment of a zoning ordinance or local law. This is the adoption of the proposed local law of 2021, amending the zoning to transfer jurisdiction over and review of special use permits from the ZBA to the planning board. The purpose of this local law is to amend the town code, part 4, building and zoning, chapter 180 zoning. It's intended to streamline the review process and make it consistent with New York State Town Law 274B, and revises certain provisions of the zoning law referencing a special use permit review authority. We didn't find any countywide impact from this, just one comment. There are other references, noting that the local law section 4 amendment includes a clause pertaining to other references, whereas special use permit review authority is with the ZBA, where it's not cited in this local law. Just suggest that they review and revise these other two sections that I found that included references to the ZBA having the authority to review subdivisions. That's 180-22.1, communication or broadcast towers or facilities, and also 180-23.2, electric vehicle charging stations.
Okay. Any questions or comments? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that.
Mallory so moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Steve seconds it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried.
Okay. So now we'll go back to, oh, excuse me, just a second. Sorry. To 21004V, Copac Beverage LLC, Liebensart Brewery. Oops. Yes. Sorry. Okay. So the applicant is Copac Beverage LLC, Liebensart Brewery. It's located on 7124 New York State Route 22. I'm doing this a little bit differently, and hopefully it'll work better for us. Well, I'm quarantined. I'm in my house. I didn't have access to like the resources that I have in the office. So, the proposed action is to establish a brewery. It's approval of a site plan and issuance of a special use permit. The existing zoning is ag within the scenic corridor overlay zone. The existing land use is commercial. The surrounding is ag, commercial, and residential. This blue line denotes the 500 feet from the parcel. You can see that it's within 500 feet of numerous parcels located in an agricultural district. The parcel itself is 17.67 acres, and there's an existing structure on site, 3,500 square feet. You could also, this is another existing conditions showing the 100-year flood hazard. However, there's in the GIS shapefile from FEMA, there's an offset. So this actually is not running through the middle of the parcel. It's moved in this direction. Just pointing that out because in one of the descriptions and narratives submitted by the applicant, it notes that this discrepancy, and you'll see that the county planning department has a note saying that this is a FEMA data issue because it was noted in the EAF that the applicant submitted that the location of the flood hazard area was not correct. And the final map just shows the land use of adjacent parcels. So surrounding is ag, residential, and commercial. And then for soils, wetland, the wetland map shows the turquoise area being the New York State DEC wetlands, the cornflower blue, the federal wetlands, and the hatched area is the DEC check zone. So a great deal of the parcel has existing wetlands on site. Okay. So this little site plan shows the existing conditions. So you'll see there's an existing structure, existing access off of New York State Route 22. This is an existing structure, gravel area, access drive, existing vegetation. It shows the boundaries of the wetlands that were actually mapped in the field, because the maps that I showed you before are just from data layers. So this actually was mapped in the field and delineated on the site. So you can see the actual boundaries on site. It shows the existing vegetation. And then if we go over here, this is the proposed site plan. So they're maintaining the existing access drive off of 22. They're showing a parking area. Let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so parking area, and they submitted a series of maps from different versions, and this is an earlier version. I should get to let me get to the newer one. So the later version, the most recent version, they did a little reconfiguration of the parking area to add ADA accessible parking near the entrance to the structure. So the proposed entry is right here, and these are the ADA accessible parking spaces and the proposed parking. This is a proposed area where there would be a hop yard for growing hops. And there's a proposed fence that is not showing up on this site plan. Maybe they take that, maybe that's been removed. That's why it was a little bit, I found this a little confusing that they submitted so many site plans. I don't understand the rationale for doing that, but
That's why you build it first and then see how it works out.
because this map shows, excuse me, this map shows fencing, but the later one doesn't. So, okay, back to this. There will be a brewery and tasting room. It will be housing existing structure. And there's a brewery holding tank proposed for this area. They are not proposing any changes in the building footprint. The proposed use will include sale for on-site tasting as well as retail sales for off-site consumption. And they'll be producing German-style beers. The interior will include a brew house. Get to the the brew house in this area, boiler room, coolers, delivery area. There are 4 overhead garage doors that are on the exterior for access. This area would be for customers, visitors to the site where the tasting area and purchase would be available. There's also restrooms proposed, dry storage area, and coolers. They're also proposing a small outdoor seating area, 400 square feet, right in front. And those parking areas would be right in this area that I showed you before. There's an existing on-lot well. They're proposing to
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
sorry.
Would you please repeat it?
There's existing septic system on site. Get back to the site plan.
Patrice, while we're looking at this site plan, there's a note on here that they're going to be doing their exterior lighting per town of Ankrum zoning law.
Yes.
Is that Ankrum or Copake? I thought you said this was Copake.
No, this is Ankrum, but the name of the company is Copake Beverage LLC, the town of
Okay.
Ankrum.
Okay, just checking. Thank you.
Yep. And the proposed septic system, is in this area right here. There are 2 breweries, so I'm apologize for saying that this was existing. They're proposing to maintain the existing vegetation lines. They're not proposing any disturbance to the wetland areas, which are generally bounded by the vegetation line. The hours of operation are from April to October would be Thursday through Sunday from noon to 10. And during the winter time from November through March, Thursday through Sunday from noon to 7. They're also proposing to have an occasional food truck. The location would be in this area near the entrance. This parcel is located in Ag District 1, as I mentioned, and the wetlands, I showed you the map of those already. We didn't find any countywide impact from this. Couple of comments noting that if there is any disturbance to the wetlands, that permits would be required from the entity having jurisdiction, whether it be the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers or New York State DEC. Access that New York State DOT approval for any improvements to the existing access would also be required. They're stating that they aren't proposing anything, but there may be requirements by DOT for the change in use to this brewery. The third comment that the septic system requires Columbia County Department of Health review. And the fourth, comment, there would be a licensure required from the New York State Liquor Authority to operate the brewery and retail sale for off-site consumption. And also noting that because of the proximity to the agricultural district, an ag data statement would be required. I can show, this shows a little bit more of the drainage scheme. There's a drainage strip here. The location of the well is shown right here. You can't see that clearly on the other site plan. And here are the locations, Ed, you were asking about the lighting. So there are 2 parking lot lights that would be mounted on poles. And then other wall-mounted lights on the structure itself. There's proposed signage, a freestanding sign here near the access drive. Does anyone have any questions?
No, I think it's gonna fall right in place with the one up in Hillsdale, you know, as part of a, I'm sure there's a brewery trail out there. It's gonna be
A
pretty
crawl.
crawl, a brewery crawl.
Well, yeah, there is the state does have a beverage map actually, and the county tourism department developed a scenic sips route. So they have these, there's an app on their website that shows little routes that you can take for all the locations of all the breweries, craft breweries, farm breweries, distilleries in Columbia County. So I'm sure that will get plugged into that app once it's approved. Here's the note that I mentioned about the GIS map.
Oh, yeah, okay. Okay,
Existing conditions. Ag data statement.
well, let's show the addresses being in Copake.
I have to say, I didn't realize that was Ankrum in there. I know where that is.
Well, it came from the town of Ankrum, so
Yeah.
that's all I can tell you.
Hey,
If they don't, if you know, I.
Steve, do you want to be CC'd on this too?
Okay.
You guys haven't seen this yet, right? Okay. So is there any questions or comments? It was a very thorough review. Any additional comments? We'll entertain a motion.
I'll move that motion. We
Ed,
adopt
so moved.
staff's recommendation.
Yep, with the comments. Is there a second?
Second.
Steve seconds it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion's carried. Steve's representing the Copake Planning Board. Should any of this have to be done by the Copake Planning Board? We got it covered that way too. You know, Patrice, you got that arrow on. You got your mouse on the thing, and I keep wanting to try and move it with my.
Oh, really? I'm sorry. Well, it's
That's not your fault. It's just.
it's the easiest way for me to show you the various.
No. It's just kind of comical. I forget where mine is, and then I just like. Why is that right in the middle of the screen like that?
Sorry. Okay, so the next is the 2105 Town of Cloverwick Planning Board. The applicant is ELP Cloverwick Solar LLC. It's 109 Fish and Game Road. It's to construct a solar array, requires special use permit and site plan review. It's within 500 feet of a state and a county road. The existing zoning is RA, existing land use ag and vacant, surrounding ag and residential, proposed structures. There are also existing structures. The parcel is approximately 91.4 acres. Excuse me. So this is, we've been seeing a few ELP, Eastern Light Partners, solar projects in the county.
That we have.
So this is the parcel, or the two parcels outlined in red. And the blue shows its the distance 500 feet from the boundary line. So you'll see, oh, these brown parcels are the ag districts. This shows the proximity to various types of soil. This brown, this mocha brown, indicates presence of prime farmland. The aqua is prime farmland if drained, and the lighter ochre color is the farmland of statewide importance, which is not present on the parcel. And here we are, our friend the flood in purple, the flood hazard area going through the parcel. And the last showing the land use. This brown, light brown color being agricultural uses and the yellow residential. Part of this application materials included information on a boundary line adjustment, and that was included just for reference. We don't review subdivisions, but that was done in order to accommodate the required 100-foot setbacks and an access easement for the access to the solar array. To a site plan here.
No more choo-choos. No more choo-choos. No, we can see choo-choos
Well, the best
tomorrow.
I did mice and men. I'm sorry about this. I'm getting to. Okay, here we are. Okay, so this is the overall site plan. The proposed development is a large-scale solar, community solar, 5 megawatts with covering with approximately 15,000 panels located on 35 acres situated on 2 parcels. There's also a town of Greenport water easement that goes through the parcel, and there's proposed access off of Route 9H. It actually has frontage or can be accessed from this area here, which is Fish and Game, but because of the wetland area, they're seeking access off of 9H. The access will require an access easement. They're proposing that the driveway be paved from DOT, from the state highway, 35 feet in, and the remainder would be gravel. That's a requirement of DOT. There's also an access road around the perimeter of the array. They prepared a viewshed analysis using topography and existing vegetation and showing proposed vegetation along the fence line. They found that the array would not be very visible from 9H because people are traveling at 55 miles an hour and it's over 1,000 feet away from the road. There would also access from the driveway edge of the existing vegetation. So the access road here is right along the existing row of vegetation. So it would sort of camouflage that site. The connection to National Grid would be from 9H to the distribution system for the National Grid. There would be 3 poles here that connect to existing poles on 9H. And I have to get to, there's another visual that shows what that would actually look like. They also prepared a visual analysis showing the pad mounted interconnection. They found that was preferable to the applicant as well as the town. And so that is the way the connection will be handled as right now. There's emergency access. They graded the gate, and there will be a 20-foot access with a knock box at the gate. The proposed landscaping is around the outside of the perimeter fencing, would provide screening. They're not proposing any lighting for the site. As I showed you before, it's located within and in proximity to other parcels within Columbia County Ag District number 3. The soils on the site, again, are mentioned. Prime farmland if drained, and prime farmland statewide importance. There are DEC wetlands and Army Corps of Engineer wetlands under your floodplain. The panel operating life are anticipated to be 25 years. They prepared a decommissioning plan as well as an operation and management plan. Public hearing was held on January 4th, and there has been a pilot with the town. There also was a pilot resolution passed by the county, town, and school district, not just the town. That was just recently passed at the Board of Supervisors full board meeting last week. The applicable some of the regulations in the Town of Claw River large-scale solar law, local law number 1 of 2020. The minimum lot size must be 10 acres. Maximum coverage is 50%. Requires a 100-foot setback from the property line to the fence. It's 8-foot perimeter fencing. So with the other solar farms that we've looked at, we recommended approval based on the countywide considerations of compatibility with various land uses with one another, protection of community character as regards to predominant land uses, population density, and the relation between residential and non-residential areas, official municipal and county developmental policies, other matters that relate to public convenience and governmental efficiency, and achieving and maintaining a satisfactory community environment. The comments that we had deal with ag districts, noting that an ag data statement was prepared because of its proximity to parcels within Ag District 3, noting the highly productive farmland soils on the site and that there will be a loss of approximately 2.25 acres of agricultural used land, and conversion of the land with ag soils to a non-ag use, noting that would occur. Also suggesting that they incorporate best management practices during all phases of construction, operation, and decommissioning. Implement those in order to minimize impact to the site and the quality of the soils. Also noting that NYSERDA tax relief, that an NOI was submitted, that there's a pilot for the town, county, and the school district pursuant to real property tax law, section 47. For stormwater, the disturbance is greater than an acre. Stormwater pollution prevention plan would be required. For access, that DOT work permit would be required for the proposed access off of 9H. Wetlands, any proposed disturbance to the wetlands, be they core or state wetlands, require permitting from those agencies. Emergency access suggested that the local fire chief review. noting that a decommissioning plan was required and was prepared, and also suggesting compliance with local laws that the project be evaluated for compliance with the town of Claverick large-scale solar law, local law number 1 of 2020. Another comment for screening to add locations of existing vegetation buffers to be maintained, and suggest that the applicant provide assurances that any screening vegetation loss would be replaced. I can show you a few more things, but that's the staff recommendation.
Patrice, could I ask you a question? So the access road that goes across the neighbor's property, across Steve Melnick's property, is that fenced off?
Which area, Mallory? Let me get to something the larger. There would be a fence around the entire perimeter of the array.
Well, what about the access road, access right away that goes across the neighbor's? That's a neighbor's property, right? That's not their property.
They have an access, they have an easement agreement that's part of the lease agreement for the access over this property to this parcel.
Yeah, that looks like it's fenced off, right? That's fencing that goes.
I believe so. It is gated, yes.
It just seems kind of weird because, he always used that for pasture and for hay ground, and then cut the field in half and fence it off. It just seemed a little strange to me.
Well,
But I guess it goes along the wooded part of the field, I guess.
Yeah, this is where the hedgerow is, or this area here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See. Yeah. I didn't realize it was all the way over to the hedgerow. Okay.
Yeah. See here. It's hard to see when it's tiny, and so it's very faint.
Yeah.
But you can see it here.
Yeah.
And there's a visual. Let me get to that shows it a little bit better. So this is the image that they provided showing the existing conditions. And this is showing the access road going into the site with the 3 poles here connecting to 9H. And then this pad that was going to be added there. The other scenario that they had initially apparently was a row of poles to make the connection. And I guess after meetings that they came up with this being a better solution, more acceptable to everyone, that this would be, and by National Grid as well, of how they connect with the existing distribution system.
Yeah.
Are there images in particular that anyone wants to see? There was a lot of material in this submission. It was very thorough.
No, that's good for me.
And I don't know, Mallory is on the Ag and Farmland Protection Board as well as I am, and they are also being requested to make comment on most of these solar projects because of their the agricultural uses on them and proximity to ag districts. And for this particular project, I believe it was a recommendation of approval. Was it not, Mallory?
Yeah, yes, it was. Yeah. But
Yeah.
we noted that there is some prime farmland on the ground and on the property, and just some notations that we have concerns about using prime farmland.
Yep.
Solar panels.
Seems to be the best spot for them.
The
trees there.
It's always open.
Well, I like the fact this one's set back from the road a little bit. So
Yeah.
it's not the, And that's good to see that, I'm sure that pad thing, that has more of the transformers in it. That's what that's a good idea. Maybe we'll start to see more of those on some of the projects. So, good.
Yeah, this particular one, I mean, these poles kind of blend right in with the wooded area behind it. So that's, you know,
Yeah,
it's better than a lot of them that we've seen.
yeah. Well, good. Has anybody got any questions or comments?
Nope.
Entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make that.
Mallory so moves for approval. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second.
Terry seconds it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion is carried.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, so the, excuse me, the next in line is 21006V Taconic Engineering DPC for Dale Madsen. It's a town of Austerlitz planning board. It's constructing a commercial storage building. It's approval of a site plan. The existing zoning on the parcel is rural residential. The existing land use is vacant. And it's within 500 feet of Route 203. Surrounding land use is residential, commercial, and community service. So again, this shows the proximity, or excuse me, the soils on site. So the majority of this parcel is comprised of prime farmland, a little bit of the farmland of statewide importance on the rear, or on this eastern portion of the parcel. And then the land use, residential, is categorized residential by real property, and surrounding is vacant and residential. So for locations, it's a little bit east of Spencertown. It's really hard to see on this little map, but it's kind of muddy.
It's like almost across from Madsen overhead doors.
Yeah. If anybody's familiar with that. So here's Spencertown in this area, and you continue heading towards, heading east on 203. And here's Madsen overhead doors, and then this is the proposed site. Okay, so site plan review is required to construct the commercial storage building. Proposed structure is approximately 4,800 square feet. It's 1 story, 26.4 feet in height at the ridge line. As I mentioned, it's just east of the Spencertown area, and site plan review is required for this. The proposed structure would be towards the rear of the parcel. With an access drive off of 203, this apron, concrete paved apron off of 203, with the remainder being gravel to this parking area for, would be all gravel, will be expanded. They're proposing to use this structure to store construction equipment and materials. There's proposed on-lot septic system. It would be a raised bed. The process is already underway with the Department of Health. And proposed on-lot well. The disturbance is shown on the site as 0.92 acres. The also include a measures for erosion and sediment control. There would be a sign mounted on the structure here. And there would be also wall-mounted lighting on this structure. We didn't find that there was any countywide impact from this. A couple of comments that DOT approval would be required for the proposed access off of 203. And interestingly enough, that's underway as well. They have a letter from DOT where they're not requiring curbing. That's traditionally they've been requiring curbing for all new access off of state highways. So in this particular letter, they said that they weren't going to require curbing. Also, the septic system, learning that the applicants already submitted the application to the Department of Health for the proposed septic system, and the process is underway. Just want to note on the acreage, the site plan shows the acreage as 5.2 acres or 5.52 acres, but the EAF lists it as 7.4. So looking for clarification on that. And also suggests that they delineate the location of the well on the site plan. Those 4 comments.
Well, good. It's good to see younger person investing. Right now, he rents a building from another person, so it's good to see the investment. I'd like to make the motion for local decision with the comments, staff comments.
I'll second that.
Ed seconds it. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed?
Patrice, the issue of curbing on entrances, we've had 3 or 4 before the Greenport Board where the new permit agent over at DOT is not a fan of curbing. So we've got several of them that we've had letters where they've said no curbing required.
Yeah,
New
it was
policy,
interesting,
I
though,
guess.
because for a while, all of the here's the letter right here. All of the it was cost prohibitive for some smaller businesses to have the curbing done, and we actually saw some projects that came to the county and that didn't come to fruition because of the cost of putting the curb cut with it.
We've had a couple of them in the town also.
And I know you guys have been at it long enough to know that, when they would keep redesigning the curbing too.
Yes.
So
Yep.
the guys would contract with somebody to come in, and then they'd find out, well, that was last year's design of curbing. Now it's got to be sloped or some darn other thing. But that's good to see that there's some common sense being applied, maybe.
Okay, so this is our last one, 21008V. It's Vosburg Orchards LLC, Town of Livingston Planning Board, to establish a farm stand and brewery. It's approval of a site plan. Okay. So this shows the red is the parcel boundaries, and showing the 500 feet distance from the parcel boundaries. Parcels are in the ag district. Soils contains prime farmland of statewide importance, and then a little bit of prime farmland if drained. And the use is residential, recreation, entertainment, and adjacent. And the presence of wetland, you see some federal wetlands on the parcel. This map is really hard, really difficult. It's really light, but I will blow it up to see. This actually used to be the sloop brewery. And they are proposing to reopen it for another farm brewery, and also it will include, it will be an existing barn structure, which is here, which will include a tasting room. They're proposing it to be a small operation, 4 to 10 barrel brewery, and they will brew beer and cider. They will use hops and fruit grown on the farm and other New York State products. There will be also on-site sale and retail sales and commercial sales with delivery, but they've emphasized that it would be a small scale. The hop residue is in an existing holding tank, and that is hauled off-site for proper disposal. We're also proposing composting some of the byproducts on-site or for other local farmers. On the interior, they're proposing addition of restrooms, small prep kitchen, and some cosmetic changes. There's an existing on-lot septic system, existing well, an existing access off of County Route 19. For parking, you see a little parking area here. I think I can make it. Oh yeah, that's a little bit bigger. Okay, that's a little better. 13 spaces, including ADA, located within Columbia County Ag District number 4. We didn't find there's any countywide impact from this. A couple of comments. First, the Ag District, that an Ag data statement would be required because of the presence of the active farm operation. And also for the septic system, the Columbia County Department of Health review and approval would be required. It's just a little bit of a blow up of the site.
So are they widening the access road? What's the hatching?
Widen driveway.
Yeah, widen driveway.
Yes, that crosshatched area is the area that would be changing the width of that road, correct, Terry? It'll be the whole till they get to this section here. So here's the location of the 2 existing wells, the existing farm stand and brewery, and here's the existing septic system. I don't know when the other operation closed. I wasn't aware that it was closed, honestly, so until I got this referral. So
Yep.
it's just another view of the parcel, the survey showing the site, existing structures. I don't really have anything else.
Okay. Was there any comments from the staff?
I gave you the 2 about the ag data statement and the septic Department of Health. Those 2.
Okay. Is there any questions or comments? If not, we'll
No.
take a motion. Steve so moves.
So moved.
Patrick will second.
Patrick seconds it. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion's carried.
That's all the referrals.
Okay. Do you have anything else for the board this evening, Patrice? There was another Planning Federation training. I don't know if you guys caught the other one last week of the ethics one with Mark Shackner. There's another one coming up, I think like 24th of this month, I think. To do with communities. We did have a board of directors meeting for the Planning Federation. They're putting together like a 4-part summit. It's going to be virtual. It'll be around in June. It's going to be co-sponsored with NYSERDA. It's going to be like our conference. It's going to be all about renewables and how we, as boards, interaction about it. Solar, wind turbines we mentioned a great deal, and some of the approval processes and things like that. There'll be more information coming forward on that, but that's where we're at with that program.
When did you say that was, Tim? This year?
It'll be in June. They're not sure exactly. Either May or June. They weren't sure. They're trying to put it together. It's like NYSERDA approached the Planning Federation about doing something together because I think some of the regulations are changing too at that time. So it's all part of a public relations thing too. I know that she's just started. Barbara Samuel, the executive director, is just starting to line up some speakers. But yeah, so there won't be any conference. There won't be any. They're trying to figure out. Everybody's trying to figure out what to do virtually now. You've got all these conferences that they used to have, and some of them are still having them virtually, like a whole day's worth of seminars, and they're finding out that people just come away totally exhausted after watching them for a day. And so I don't know what the solution is on that. I do myself. I like some of the webinar formats. I just, it's pretty good. It helps us to get the training, and it's convenient. So, if anybody else have anything to bring before this illustrious board, if not, we'll stand adjourned and thank Oswaldo for his fine leadership of getting us out into the great beyond this evening. And we'll see you all next month.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Stay safe.
Thank you.
Stay healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in quarantine right now, so
What'd you do?
I didn't do anything. I went to jury duty, and
And they quarantined you for
That was your
duty.
Yep.
Did you find out you were in quarantine before or after you went away for the weekend?
I found out before
I
I
don't
could
answer
go away, so I couldn't go away for the weekend.
Maybe you don't want to answer that.
Yeah.
This is a public meeting.
No, I stayed home. I didn't even go out to dinner.
Oh, you were looking forward to it too.
I was very much so, yeah.
Oh man. My wife Wendy's always said grand jury's not worth it. Oh, I'll take care of Patrice.
Thank you. You too.
All right, good night.
Hopefully Rob takes care of you well.
I'm not sick.
No, I know, but he's got to slip something underneath the door for you to eat and stuff like that, right?
Oh, yeah, it smells pretty good right now. So.
If you're real nice, maybe the health department will give you another 10 days.
There you go.
So I'm working from home, so.
Yeah.